Boom! Welcome to another episode of the GiddyUp Podcast. My name is JT, and of course, every week I'm joined by this very handsome man, Donnie Elgin. Oh, I've got to say, Donnie, it's not every week because we weren't around last week.
You know what I think it was, mate? I think we put people into shock after my Mankini demonstration. I think that's what it was. I banned myself for a week.
Bloody hell, that was traumatic for a lot of people. I've been on the phone and responding to formal complaints from the Australian Communications Media Authority. Mate,
Is that a thing?
It is, mate. It's very much a thing. Please no more Mankini shots. That'd be great. Welcome, everyone. If you're listening on a podcast, welcome. And, of course, if you're watching us live, we love you guys. So welcome to another episode on a Tuesday night. Something different this week. We had a few little clashes, so we've gone with the Tuesday at an earlier time slot. We're beating maths, Don. I know that's important to you.
Maths, is that as your 1 + 1 = 2? Is that maths? Is that...
One day, mate. One day we'll get you a question.
I hope not. Now, JT, I have to tell the humans where I was last week, mate. What happened? And it was a piss poor on my behalf that I didn't announce it, that I was going to help our women through to the soccer. I was there when the Matildas kicked an absolute bag of goals and qualified for Paris 2024. They're off to the Olympics, and it's all because I was in the stadium, I'm sure of it.
I actually heard them attribute the win to your presence.
Thank you.
I must admit, I actually forgot it was on, and I switched on the TV, and I was like, oh, soccer's on, I'll switch it on. And I looked at the score, and it was 9-0, and I was like, no, that can't be right. I could not believe it. Like, what the hell?
I must admit, I much prefer to see that in a qualifier than at the Olympics, because, seriously, that mob that we played, they were shit house, and good luck to them for getting into the qualifiers, because everyone's got to have a crack at the big time, but you don't want them making it through when they're that shit. Like, seriously, we want to see the best of the best at the Olympics, and unfortunately Australia's got to be there.
Well, mate, you would know all about being the best of the best at the Olympics, but Donnie, I don't really want to talk about the soccer when we're talking about last week, because I think something slightly bigger may have happened last week. And I know it probably seems like a distant memory already, mate, but I do believe you may have walked a certain person down the aisle, my friend.
I did indeed, mate. Father of the bride. I was chomping at the bit. I could not wipe the bloody smile off my face. It was without doubt the highlight of, right up there with one of the highlights of my life. So to see my future son-in-law have the help me written on the bottom of his shoes, I thought that was a bit funny, because I also did that 26 years ago, and I've needed every bit of help I can get since then. But it was, seriously, it was just one of those absolute cracking days, filled with love, JT. Everywhere you looked, people were happy. There was an abundance of love and joy out in the lawn where it was, out at the winery, and then inside. It was, seriously, it was a special time. And Nutto and Bill, they're in Bali. Actually, they might be on the way home. They've been over there, and we did, JT. I kept it right under wraps. We did sneak over there and surprise them when they got there. So there is some photos. I'll put them in the chat. I had to keep everything on the down low, and I'm prolific at Snapchatting bloody everything. And what I did do is I stayed off it for a couple of days, because Buff and we took off over to Bali, and people said, you can't go there and crash their honeymoon. What sort of bloody parents are you? And honestly, what got it across the line is when I said to Midgie and George, my other two daughters, I said, we're thinking of going over there and just surprising them at the airport. What do you reckon? And in a heartbeat, both of them said, yes, Dad, they'll bloody love it. That'll be awesome. And of course, Buff and I went up to Schoolies when Jordan turned 18 and she was at Schoolies on the Gold Coast and surprised her. So it's true to form how we roll. So anyway, it was awesome, JT. I'll put the video in the chat after this podcast.
Fantastic. I'm sure everyone's going to be looking forward to seeing the footage, mate. And you can see that and those are people that know you, and if you're listening on podcast, you don't see this, but mate, the smile on your face says it all. You wouldn't even have to say a word, mate. It's awesome to see that it means so much to you, and of course, congratulations to the guys. We look forward to what's the next celebration, mate? When are we expecting a little one? Are we having those conversations already, or what's going on?
Well, Boof did, and I said, geez, mate, question me every time I talk about sex, and now you're asking our daughter to talk about it. So anyway, I'm hoping that helps, Poof. No, but there's what I've said all along is there's zero expectation, mate. When the time's right, it'll just be bloody awesome. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's my approach. So no expectations other than them two being happy for as long as they possibly can.
Well said, mate. Very diplomatic, which of course we are not on the GiddyUp podcast. We've got a heap of episodes,
hell no.
segments coming up where we may just not stick to anything that's going to go to script like every other podcast. Because mate, we've Don has probably, you haven't even looked at the run sheet. I'm tipping, mate. But
have we got one for tonight?
Yeah, we have. We have. We've got a lot of stuff on it. We've got some of our usual segments. We've got a good dad joke, of course. I'm going to point out a couple of absolute dickheads that need to be called out, and we've got quite a few funny, sort of interesting segments as well, mate. So I think we might just get into our first segment and keep this show moving along, which is, as I quite bloody look at it. Here we are.
Bizarre News Stories.
Oh, Donnie, we scan the world for bizarre news stories every week to bring it to our listeners, and let's face it, there is a lot of bizarre shit that goes on in this world, Donnie. So what have you come up with this week?
Well, JT, I did do some research for this. It wasn't a shitload. Yeah, it wasn't a lot, but I did see this story and I've just gone, hey, you know, I told you I was in a mankini last week. It was recorded, it's on the show, but what I did think throughout my time, right, last week, it sort of got me thinking, what is not for sale? Like, I'm willing to bare my soul and tell people how I think, and it'd get me in the shit from time to time, but I'm willing to be really bloody honest, right? I'm willing to auction off a leg. I've got, for those of you that are first-time listeners, I've got an artificial leg. I've got about 50 of them. I've got one in Science Works, one in bloody Sports Works. I've got them in museums all over the joint, and I've loaned them out to people for projects and all sorts of stuff. And I thought, when I'm dead, right, is there anything that I would say, hey, hold on to that. I don't want it out there in the public domain. It's private. You know, I remember speaking to Mum for ages and she said, hey, listen, I'm willing to donate anything that's bloody good, but I'm keeping my eyes, right? My mum said, I'm keeping my eyes. Don't bloody donate them to science, they're mine. And I thought, yeah, fair enough. How about this? Some fella or lady, I don't know yet which way they were, but a successful bidder has purchased Sir Winston Churchill's false teeth, JT.
False teeth?
The false teeth. False teeth up for grabs. They went for about £18,000, I reckon. There they are. And like, you'd think if you're going to pay 18 grand for them, you get a full set. Like, that's old Sir Winston Churchill and a couple of chompers in there. But mate, have you got anything that you just go, nah, bullshit, don't sell that when I'm dead, just bury it or hide it or something? Is there anything that you just goes off limits? Because I would have thought teeth is a bit like, I don't know. Would you give them away? Would you sell them?
It's an excellent question. I have never actually really thought about it, Donnie, until then. But I put it out to our listeners. What are the no-go zones if you've got something that you just would not want to put up for sale? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to come back to you on that one. I have no idea. I find it bizarre. Like, what would you do with a pair of false? Like, is it just for historical value? I assume.
Surely it. Like, you know, he was on the beaches. We'll take him on the beaches when he delivered some big speeches. But, like, having a pair of falsies isn't going to bloody give you the speech, or it's not going to, you know, create any... surely it's only for conversation when you bring the lovely lady home and she goes, oh, what are you into? Collecting, you know, things? Oh, yeah, there's old Sir Winston Churchill's teeth. Like, I can't imagine what else you'd use them for, JT.
No, me neither. Well, I guess it must just be that historical value, right? Just a piece of history, I guess, that you want to own. And traditionally, that kind of stuff has gone up in value, I suppose. So
£18,000, JT. And it went higher than they were expecting, the auctioneers. So if there's any of our listeners that have got something they just think, you know what, tell us about that. We need to know what's off limits. Is there anything that you wouldn't sell or you wouldn't want your family to sell of yours? Me, take the lot, suckers. But old Sir Winston Churchill is dead, so he didn't get much of a say in it. But I thought it was interesting when I found that. It's bizarre. 18 grand for a pair of teeth.
That is a huge amount of money. So, well, there you go. That is a little bit of bizarre news. Now, of course, we've got a whole bunch of other segments. We're going to keep them moving tonight. So, well, one of the ones, Donnie, of course, when you have a wedding, fair to say there's a bit of alcohol that probably, gets consumed at the wedding, particularly if it's at a winery. And that sort of brings us to a nomination, Donnie, for you of our Dickhead of the Week.
What have I done?
Dickhead of the Week.
You suck.
Oh, hang on, JT. For a moment there, I thought you were saying I was the dickhead of the week. I was in shock thinking, what have I done? No, JT. In my accidental stupor of doing some research for this show about Winston's teeth, I found another story, JT. Right. And this was about this dickhead, absolute cracker. And he rang up the cops, right? Get this, JT. He's absolutely got on the sauce and he's rang the cops. He's in London and he said, Victor Charlie, go here please. I'm too pissed to drive. He was ringing to dob himself in. Actually, I think he was actually after some instructions of how to actually drive a car when you were as drunk as he were. But have you ever been so drunk you've dobbed yourself in for something that you shouldn't be doing, JT?
No, I have never been that drunk, Donnie. You know me, very responsible. Always been able to remember what I've done, so I can't use I was pissed and I can't remember excuse ever. I'm sure some of our listeners may have different opinions, but no, I have never been that drunk, mate. And that sounds like, well, I mean, it was kind of the right thing to do, right? He didn't want to do harm. He's rung up and reported himself. Isn't that a good thing?
He didn't want to do harm. What's he sitting in a bloody driver's seat for, JT? He's a dickhead. End of story. Anyway, he wouldn't have been too pissed because if you can still dial the numbers of where was it? Right. England. Is it 000? Yeah. What numbers they dial over there? 91? No, that's America. 000s here. I don't even know what number it would have dialed.
No, me neither. No idea.
Maybe we should. Oh, well, there we go.
I just thought that was shit again for GiddyUp Podcast.
But I did see the story and I thought, shit, I've never been that pissed I've dobbed myself in.
Yeah,
but if any of our listeners have, we're not holding it against you, but we would like to hear about it. What have you done? Write in, tell us, and we'll share it if you'd like us to, or not.
Alrighty, our next segment here, Donnie, is we like to give our people a bit of a life hack. Just something that might make their life easier, save a life maybe, etc. What have you got anything for us, Donnie, in that space?
I'm just looking to think if I've got I've got one for you, JT. I've got one.
What do you got?
Right.
What do you got?
Okay, here's one for you. Now, as we all know, our listeners are fantastic and they write in when we're audio's down and shit like that. So I've got one that you're all over that. Beautiful. Right. Hence the close-up of me. Here's a life hack. I actually can't remember if I told you this the other week, but when I heard it, and all the storms and shit were going off, and I thought, wouldn't it be good if there was a life hack that told me that my freezer had been off for a certain amount of time, everything's thawed out, and now it's refrozen. How would I actually know? And then I saw this little life hack, and that is, get yourself a glass of water, put it in the freezer, and freeze the sucker. Then whack a coin on top of the frozen water, on top of the ice. There it is. And then the life hack's this bit, JT. If ever your freezer goes off, you've pissed off on holidays to surprise the kids on honeymoon, or you're away for a while, the power's been out, but then it's come back on, you're none the wiser because your meat's all frozen and stuff. When you'll know if that's happened is that coin will no longer be on the top of the glass, it'll be on the bottom of the glass, JT, because the ice will have melted, and boom, the coin falls to the bottom. So there you go. Every fridge, every freezer should be rocking a ice glass of water with a coin on it. There you go. That's my life hack, JT.
Mate, that is life-saving stuff, Donnie.
Well, especially if you're going to eat chicken, it's gone shit and frozen again. So, hey, hang on. Just screenshot that. That is my wife saying that's smart.
There we go. Sharon, thanks for letting us know. Hopefully my audio is a little bit better. If anyone else is having trouble with our audio, please let us know. And we have had a couple of our listeners, Janine and Ben, thank you for clarifying. If you are watching this show in the UK, because we have a massive UK audience, Donnie, for our podcast. It's one of our biggest. And if you have a need to actually ring for emergency services, don't ring 000.
No, or 911.
Or 911. 999
ring
or 112. Or you've heard it first.
112. And not just for emergencies. If you need help starting your car because you're too pissed, ring that number like old mate did before.
Exactly right. Now, Donnie, we have another segment which, what
do we got?
You've hijacked it, mate, because this is normally my segment, but this week it's over to you.
What is it?
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
JT, I would dare not go into your space, my friend, because I know you get really vocal, and rightly so, because you are the go-to man when it comes to customer experience and CX and customer service and everything to do with complaints and shit in this country. That is your credibility, rightly so, and you run courses and all that sort of stuff. But JT, I am very quick to be like the rest of the population and get stuck in and give my good foot a kick up someone's ass when they've stuffed up. JT, hand on heart, I have to say, never thought I'd be doing this. On the way home from Bali, I just thought to myself, this has pissed me off that much. I'm actually going to have a crack and see if I can tolerate the whole time. And I'm ringing Telstra. Stuff them. I've had enough. Jesus. I pay for a service when I go away, $10 a day, to get full access to my phone, just like I would here, internet, the whole lot. Got over there, trying to find ways around to go to pay this accommodation for the young'uns. Maps, no good. Nothing worked. And I'm just going, I'm paying for this. This has pissed me off. So I rang Telstra. I said, Telstra, seriously, I just need to tell you, I'm not happy. The service hasn't worked. I've paid for it, right? And they said, well, what's an ideal resolution? I said, I'm not here to scam you. Ideal resolution is that your service actually works next time I go to Bali. That's all I want. I actually don't want anything. They said, well, compensation, that sort of stuff, if you've paid for something, you haven't got it. Oh, all right. I said, I tell you what, how about I just get back the money that I've paid for that service? And I thought, I said, could I just log that as an inquiry? That's all. I worked in a call centre before, JT, that's where we met. I said, I would just like that noted. Because I figured if people don't put forward the issues, they never get fixed, because companies don't know how to fix them if they don't know they're broken. So anyway, that day I get a call back. JT, it was a lovely Telstra rep. She goes, Don, I know you weren't scheduled for a call back. I'm ringing you back. I've spoke to my team leader and I want to tell you that we're going to compensate you. We're going to refund the $10 a day for your 4 days you're over there, and for both the phones that didn't get the service. And I just thought, am I being scammed here? Like, this shit doesn't happen. This is Telstra. And my first thought was, I'm actually speaking to an Aussie in Perth. This is another surprise for me. So JT, hats off. My customer service complaint today is not a complaint. It's a compliment. Telstra, I bloody love you for at least now. Well done.
Don, I don't even know where to start with that.
Credit where credit's due, mate.
Mate, this is like the irony of this, right? Because I was sort of tossing up, what am I going to talk about this week? And I thought, you know what? I get a little bit passionate about customer service stuff, as you know.
I know.
And I had an incident with the very same company, Telstra.
Really?
Where I had to ring them on Friday on behalf of my dad, who looked like there was like a bit of a stuff up with the billing, right? And my dad's 83, and I'm like, I've got this, right? Give him a call. 48 minutes, Don, to get through for a billing inquiry. 48 minutes.
And I don't want to talk to you, JT.
They couldn't help me, Donnie, because they couldn't ID me, even though I've been a customer with Telstra for 20-odd years, and they suggested that I make an appointment and go to one of their stores. So, fair to say, I was a little bit livid, and fair to say they also hung up on me, and fair to say I'm writing an article as we speak about my experience with Telstra. So we have differing views, but you know what? It's good, as Nat said, I think it is good to give credit where credit is due. There are some good people out there, and often I find, working in this space, it's not the people who are on the phone's fault. It's the dickheads that have actually designed the systems and the processes and put in the delegation limits and all that crap, which is where the issue is. So good on you, Donnie, for giving a shout out when there is actually some good service.
So the GiddyUp podcast might still actually be able to go to air because one of us likes Telstra.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Cool. All right, there we go. That's our customer service segment. Keeping things moving right along, Donnie. I have absolutely no idea what is next. Well, look, I suppose it's probably time for me to ramp up, because I have also got a nomination for that nasty one.
Dickhead of the week.
You suck.
Oh, Donnie.
What do you got, JT? What have you got?
I went to the footy on Sunday. It was community footy, and it was down at Moorabbin local ground for those that you aren't in Victoria, literally 10 minutes from where I live. And it was North Melbourne, my team, playing St Kilda, a local team. Thought, we'll go down. It's the last sort of practice game for the year. And we'll go down and we'll watch the game. And look, it was great. It was packed. There was no seats, and it was bloody hard standing up. And we're all a bit getting old and a bit sore standing up all day. But that aside, and I want to whinge about that. I want to nominate a couple of things, and I'm going to. I don't know if anyone saw it, and if people in AFL, just bear with me because it doesn't matter. Because what I want to show you, I'm just going to put up a little clip here on the screen. Now, that's just a photo. I'm not going to show the actual video because it'll probably get flagged as copyright or something. But that is our St Kilda player, Jimmy Webster. Now, Jimmy Webster's been playing for about 10 years. And Jai, the person whose head is snapped back there and was concussed in that moment, Jimmy Webster decided that he'd just line up Jai Simpkin after he'd kicked the ball and took him out. And he ended up being concussed, played no further part in the game. Absolute dog act. There was a brawl afterwards with the players. It's not the stuff we want to see in AFL, Donny, right?
Bit of thuggery there. Those days are gone. Righto.
They are gone, right? And to put it into perspective, Donny, 70 players are concussed a year in the AFL. It is a big issue for the AFL at the moment, right? And this is a pre-season game. Just literally 4 days earlier, a Port Adelaide player got rubbed out for 4 weeks for an incident in play, which was, some would deem accidental, others didn't. The tribunal said no, he got 4 weeks because they're trying to send a message that we don't want this head-high contact, right? Because, like I said, 70 concussions a year. Just literally a couple of weeks ago, Angus Brayshaw, a Melbourne player, got retired medically. 5 years left on his contract because of concussion. Right, that's pretty tough, right? So it's a big issue for our game. And Jai Simpkin, the captain of North Melbourne Football Club, who was actually knocked out, has had 3 concussions last year. So he's already in the danger zone for it being a career-ending incident. So it was an absolute dog act. And this player, look, don't know him from a bar of soap. It was a momentary lapse of stupidity, blah, blah, blah. He's paid the price. But he isn't my dickhead of the week, Donny. And I think this is the controversial bit, Donny, because I'm actually going to nominate another person who's dickhead of the week. And I'm going to nominate Mark Robinson. Now, Mark Robinson, and there's also another absolute flog of a journalist who also probably should get a mention as well, Donny, because they've made the story not about this incident.
What have they done,
They've made the incident about... they've had a crack at the coach. Now, Alistair Clarkson, well known as a good coach in AFL circles, is now coaching North Melbourne football. He saw what happened. He's seen his captain being knocked out on a deliberately dog act, after the play. No need for it, whatever. Fair to say, he's gone into bat for his players. He's gone over at quarter time and given an absolute verbal spraying to the player that did it. I don't have an issue with that. I think bloody good on you, mate, because that shit there should be no need for that. Now, when he gave the spray, now we haven't got any verbatims on what was actually said, Don, but I can confirm that the word cocksucker was used.
Well, knowing Clarko, I'm not surprised because
it was an explosive rant, and it used the word cocksucker. Now, the next day, Alistair's come out and said, "I apologise. I was there. I was deeply upset by seeing what happened with our captain. He's had 3 concussions. It could have been a career-ending thing. I thought it was, piss poor effort. Blah blah blah. But I used unnecessary language. It was inappropriate. Move on." But no, Mark Robinson and one other journalist has decided that they believe that the story is about Alistair Clarkson and he should be suspended as a coach, or fined, or sacked. That it is unacceptable language from a senior coach. It was a homophobic slur, and we need to stamp this out. It is blah, 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 Donny. And I've got to say, guys, you had an opportunity to make a statement here about what concussion is doing to the AFL game. And instead of doing that and putting it on the platform that it should have been, you have turned this into something about a pissed off coach who vented, has apologised, move on, but you've made the story about that. So to Mark Robinson, you're an absolute flog. You are the dickhead of the week. And to all the other journalists, and he's not alone, I'd fair to say you're also absolute flogs. Focus on the issue at hand, not on stupid shit like that. Rant over.
JT, I love it. I love that you get so passionate about that. I'm just perplexed at the whole cocksucker language belongs with homophobia. Like, seriously, do they not know that also exists in heterosexual relationships, JT? So, like, seriously, what a flog. Move on. Is that really a story? That is crazy that the media will hijack. Well, it's not crazy at all. That's the sort of shit they do. I mean, we've seen so many countless times the media have an agenda. But JT, the laugh's on us, mate, because here we are having that conversation about Robbo having that line of approach. And that's what the media, their job is to do one thing, is to sensationalise and sell advertising space and have people talking about their show. Here we are on the GiddyUp podcast talking about their show. So the suckers are us, mate, not them. What we've got to do is put that shit to bed, not give it any airtime, which would make our show boring as batshit. But it really means that as long as people are talking about that, they'll keep doing it. So let's not give them the love.
Grubby journalism. Let's move on. Now, Donny, Money Whisperer, big tip. Straight after the Money Whisperer, we are going straight into a very interesting trivia quiz, I've got to say. So here we go. 1 minute with the Money Whisperer.
This guy's going to make...
G'day guys, the Money Whisperer here. Just need to clarify some of the information from last week. I mentioned a crypto Ardius, the code AIUS, which is available on Uniswap Exchange. It actually split last week into a new and old token. The old token will no longer work, so you need to be in the new token. I'll put the address up in the comments. So it's trading at about $200 Australian. I've bought some more today and entered a sale price of $1,000. So if it gets to that, I am out. Take my money 5 times. So the share I mentioned, AGN, Agencia Pharmaceuticals, it's up 10% since last week, so happy with that, but holding on. The new share that I want to mention today is Westpac. It's a blue chip share, so I'll put a significant amount of my portfolio, close to 10%. I've bought some today. Some very positive news coming out of there, I believe, the way I'm interpreting the numbers. So I've bought it in at $26.28. So that around that price, I think it's a good buy. So obviously consider your own financial position, but I've put 10% of my portfolio into that and I'll be holding it long term. All right, good luck, guys. Cheers.
Boom, there you go. Oh, lost ya. Donny, mute.
Poof, lucky I said fuck then because I was on mute and I'm glad you couldn't hear it. Hey, JT, when the Money Whisperer says he's put 10% of his coin into Westpac, that sucker will be the CEO of Westpac if he keeps his shit up. But I must admit, I got onto Westpac during the COVID time and banks and almost everything, the arse fell out of everything. I also got onto Qantas during that when nobody was flying anywhere. JT, both of those are doing very well. But if he said there's good news out and about, and he's the man who's got his ear to the ground. So good luck, kids.
And for those of you, and I've been talking about this for years, Donny, crypto is flying, people. So
is it?
Get on board. Bitcoin,
JT,
it's all-time high this week, Don. $100,000 for a Bitcoin. 100K, all-time high.
Hey, now JT, I do have a 15th of a Bitcoin, so that excites me. Not you probably have a lot more than a 15th of it, but JT, that is super exciting. And I tell you what, the good thing about the Money Whisperer is we don't say gamble responsibly. We don't say put your money. We don't give a shit. It's your money. Do what you want with it. We're just giving you the advice. Good luck.
Exactly right. All right, now trivia time, Donny.
What do you got, mate? You are the trivia buff of this country.
Can't find it. There it is.
Have you got a good question? What's your question?
I was like, what have I got here? Well, Donny, this is a very this is almost a historical moment for people that are watching this show because
what is this?
Most people have probably worked out, Donny, that you do Sweet FA every week, and it's normally me that does everything. But this week, Donny,
look at me go!
Come up with the actual question. It is a miracle. Very exciting time. So
thank you, my friend. Thank you,
Donny. You can walk people through your trivia question. Remember, our guys, you've got 40 seconds, Don. So
what do you got? 40
to walk people through.
Let's not stuff around with this. Righto. The question is, what does the Q in Qantas stand for? Now, I've been called a Qantas snob in the past, and I do know what it stands for. Does the Q stand for quality? Does the Q stand for Queen? What about queer? Or Queensland? 4 options, all start with Q. You've got around about half the time left to come up with your answer. Get them in now. Type them in, and if you get it correct, the correct one will be popped up there in a moment. then you will go into the draw to win a bottle of my finest. And JT, there's only seconds left, so quick, type in now. Quick, D for Don, type them in. Oh, JT, I wasn't given any clues or anything then.
No clues at all, Donnie. I couldn't work that one out at all.
We've got a few people got it right, so the wheel's going to be healthy today. Look at that. We've got Kim on there, previous winner. We've got Ned and Abby, and they're coming in thick and fast. I tell you what, keep them coming, kids. It stuffs JT up for ages trying to get everyone onto the wheel. And we love it.
All right, well, I'm going to start loading up the wheel, Donnie, which means... What, Donnie?
What does it mean?
It means you've just got to bloody talk about whatever the hell it is while I'm loading up the wheel. Now, I'm sure you've got an amazing topic that you've got lined up, ready to go.
Well, I've got a few topics, JT, that I'm really keen to find out from you, what you've written here. But let me tell you something. I want to tell you, guys, I've just found it, and call me buddy Sandra Sully with the late news, but I've only just done it for the first time. And the reason I've only done it recently is because I heard some bad stories about, Airbnb. And so I just thought, I'm not using that. I'm just going to use bookings.com. But the more hotels I book with booking.com, people say, if you can book direct, that's good because the money comes here. And I thought, I'll just try and mix it up a bit. Recently, we went over to Bali and to do the little surprise for the newlyweds. And the surprise was that we paid for their accommodation and transport and stuff and set it all up for them. Set the honeymoon up complete. They had no idea apart from the fact that they were going to Bali. And so Buff and I went over there and we got out and about and did all the things we had to. But I booked accommodation using Airbnb. And again, sticking with credit where credit's due, never used that platform before. It was easy. I got great information come through. And honestly, I highly recommend it. Don't be too skeptical like I was because there was bad news stories around it. It was bloody awesome. And I loved it. I loved that we had a villa, really affordable. That was probably the piece that I liked the most, is it was really, really affordable. So if you're going away, always check Airbnb and you might be surprised of what's available. It's bloody amazing.
Special thanks to our new sponsor, Airbnb. Well done, guys. It's great to have you on board, and good plug, Donnie. All right, now this is going to be a shit show because I have no idea where this screen's going to come up, but I've got the wheel ready, but I don't know where it's going to appear on my computer, so I'm just going to go to the wheel, and this is not going to go well.
Hey, JT, why are you doing that too? You've got the wheel. There it is. That's all right. Wheel, so blow that up.
I can't actually see anything, so can you see it? Can you see it?
It's a tiny little bloody window. It's like a little hot dog sort of sausage thing. So,
right.
yeah,
I'm just gonna go
make that fat.
And
yeah, sort of. We'll know who wins it. They'll be singing. Hey, good news.
I can't see things. Yes, good news.
Kim Drummond has just whacked in the comments there, JT. Don't know if you can see it. Best vodka I have ever tasted.
Boom, it is bloody good vodka. All right, here we go. Spinning the wheel. Good luck to everyone on the wheel who answered D, Queensland.
I've got a new flavour.
Is it going to stop or click over? It is going to Janine. Boom.
Janine!
You just won yourself some bloody good stuff.
Oh, my little old mate, Dad said she will like this. This will not help you grow taller. You'll still be 4 foot nothing, but you'll be a happy drunk 4 foot nothing because it is the bomb, this stuff. JT, got to let you in a little secret. I've made 3 new flavours. I got myself a mango. I got myself a, what was the other one? A strawberry, raspberry. And JT, I lied. There's 4 flavours. The other one is watermelon, JT. Watermelon.
Watermelon? How do you do
watermelon vodka? Well, I've got to squash it into the bottle. Yeah. No, you're going to love it. It's vodka. Added syrup. We'll taste it, JT, before we send it up to Janine. Not that bottle. We'll give her a freshie.
Little tester.
Yep.
I like a little tester. All right, Donnie. Dad joke loaded, ready to go. Are you ready?
Before we do, right before we do, I'm loving Janine's comment there. She's really, I've touched the chord with her.
I saw that there. That's funny. Yes, you have. Well done. All right, here we go. This is a good one, Dottie. I'm going to talk it up.
Righto, mate. What do we got?
Dad joke of the week.
All right, Donnie. There's a guy sitting at home, and he hears a knock on the door.
Oh, yes.
So he opens the door, and he sees a snail sitting on the porch. So he's like, picks up the snail and throws it as far as he can. Goes back inside, doesn't think much of it. A year later, there's another knock at the door. So he goes over, he opens the door, and he sees the same snail. And the snail says, "What was that all about?" Come on, that's a good one.
I sort of sense where that was going, JT. That's very good, JT. That's very good for our dad joke. See, the standard of dad jokes is, well, I wouldn't say it's lifting and it's not falling. It's saying about the status quo.
It's as good as I've got.
It's really not up to us. It's up to the people, JT. We're men of the people. It's up to them to let us know if they like that or not. There's a good one. So there we go. The comments are coming thick and fast.
Man. There we go. I've got one supporter. All right. Brilliant.
There we go.
All right. Now, Donnie, of course, we're going to wrap this up. We're not going to go very long at all. But when we do finish up the show, before we get to our final closing scene, Don, you always have, well, what we call the final thought, Donnie. So I'm going to throw it over to you.
So JT. JT, life is simple. You make it complicated by being in your own head. My advice is get out of your head and get busy living. Enjoy life.
That sounds like a movie quote, Donnie. I'm sure I've heard that somewhere.
Well, anyway, I didn't. Doesn't matter where we get it from, JT.
Right,
what matters is we give it to the people.
Gotcha. Awesome. All
I
right.
might have tweaked it a bit.
Thanks everyone for joining in. I hope you
love your
enjoyed
work,
the show.
legends.
Eventually we'll get one of these shows right, but we love that you guys are all part of the journey. So
Thank you.
Feedback always welcome. Bye for now.